Can you say that again for us? Because anytime we speak now, one of us has to we have to mute our mic, so we had a feedback.
Yeah. That I joined the space last week that you guys had, which it seems was your first one of this virtual film festival, and it was so good. Your speaker was so eloquent. She answered the questions so well. It was such a great space that then when Gino asked if we wanted to be featured on this one, I was like, oh my god, we have to follow up that act. I'm so nervous. So we're really excited to be here. And as you can see, we're actors first, because as soon as you're like, all right, back to one, I would just repeat it exactly as I said it the first time.
Definitely nothing to be nervous of, guys. You guys have an awesome project, man. It gave me chills when I saw the trailer.
Oh, thank you. That means so much. Let's see.
So, I learned how to speak English with the Cuban kids in 1975.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, you know that about me, right? I'm in Miami, like South Florida, so this really resonate. So yeah, I looked at it. I really love your project. I have some really good friends, close friends who are Cubans, and like I said, I came to the United States in 1975, first generation Vietnamese immigrant. My mother worked for the American government, and we were blessed to be able to come to this wonderful country. And I was able to meet a lot of new friends, and I learned how to speak English with the Cuban kids. Where I grew up was all literally like we all grew up not understanding how to speak English, but we understand each other. Let's put it that way.
I love and I love Miami. Miami in the house.
Okay. We're still waiting on Steven.
Yeah, he says he's in.
Yeah, but I just heard him talk.
You know what? You still have the other one going. You have two spaces going, Gina. You got to close the other one out.
I thought I turned it off. Hold on. All right, give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry.
Can you tell I'm the producer? I'm like, do this now.
I love it.
It says it's over.
I'm trying to run analytics, and it's telling me that I'm not the co-host in that one, so that's why. But it's okay. I'm running analytics with this one.
Okay, he was on the computer. He's gonna try to get in from the phone.
Okay.
Because we can hear what he's hearing, and it's like what we said like 3 minutes ago. So that's interesting.
That was so interesting. We were like in the past and the future.
Like, I'm hearing my past self. So he's gonna jump in on on the phone. Oh, there's Steve.
There he goes. He made it.
All right, I think that.
All right. We can get started here.
Okay, I'm gonna and then hop back with the Viva handle, so then we could have that one on here.
Okay, Gina,
Hello,
I
hello.
think
Can
we're
you guys
pretty
hear me?
much there. Hi, how are you?
What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
The man of the hour.
Oh, nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you, man.
No, nice to meet you, my man.
All right.
The trailer to your movie gave me chills.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah, let's start off by basically tell us more about yourself before we get into your movie.
Or
How
should
you
we,
got into film.
should we welcome everybody?
Okay, yeah, let's welcome everybody.
So I hear a feedback.
Where's that coming from?
It's okay. We'll just take turns. So everybody, welcome. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna let Gina do the opening remarks. We're thrilled. This is our second virtual film festival, and again, this is exciting time for us because it's something we talked about along the way, meeting randomly in a Twitter space. So we brought it to life, and if everybody could please tweet this out. We want to feature every week. We want to feature an incredible filmmaker and the things they're doing and the changes they're going to create from it. So again, this week is another incredible filmmaker and his team. And I'm really excited about this, by the way. So, Gino, the mic's yours.
All right. Steven, man of the hour. Tell us more about yourself, man, and how'd you get into filmmaking?
Hey guys. Oh, there we go. Sorry, there was a crazy echo. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. First off, this is really exciting to be able to share the project with you guys and talk about our kind of the concept of the project and the heart of it all and the strategy. And yeah, so a little bit about me. I'm from Miami. I'm Cuban American, actually Cuban Korean American, and I went to film school in Syracuse and worked at some TV stations in New York and Miami after that, and then moved out here to Los Angeles in 2000, and worked basically as an editor. My background is in like promos and marketing and editing, and then started a production company in 2013 called Big Machine. And at Big Machine, we did tons of like visual effects. We had a whole VFX team, and we did a lot of commercial production there. And then since then, I've just been working as a basically a freelance commercial director and creative director. And how that whole part of me kind of ended up at Viva is while I was making um, short form content and commercials, telling stories. Obviously, I think that's kind of why we all do this, is to tell a story in our own way, whether we're a producer or a writer or an actor or director. And I went to see this awesome filmmaker, Sean Baker. He did like Tangerine and Florida Project. He has a new movie out now too. I went to see Florida Project, and afterwards a Q&A. He said, that we should try to use our platforms to tell a story that only we can tell. So I started trying to look inward and see what that story was for me. We all have one, at least one. I mean, most of us have many that are from our point of view in the world. And being Cuban American and going to Cuba a bunch, I obviously have very strong feelings about what's going on there and stuff. And I went there. I took my wife to visit my family there. One of the many times I've been in, gosh, what was it now? Maybe 2016. And I had friends that posted, on Facebook. I posted a picture of us there in front of one of those old cars, and friends posted, and they were like, "Oh, hey, I forgot you're Cuban." With a name like Steve Petersen, it's easy to forget. But then they were like, "Oh, I want to go. I want you to take me. I want to go take pictures of those cars and have some mojitos and have some cigars." And it would get me so upset because that was not my experience. When I would go, it's a real place. The people that live there, it's total suffering. There's no food. There's nothing. There's barely electricity. The folks have nothing there. They have, most of all, they don't have any hope. There's no opportunity because it's a totalitarianism sort of situation. There's no freedoms at all. Freedom of speech, civil rights. There's nothing. So the government just does what they want. You can't. There's no point to trying to have a career because you can't get a job. So it's quite it's an incredibly oppressive environment and place to live. But most people don't think that because the image of Cuba is so colorful and vibrant, and the culture is so beautiful, and the food and the music and this and that. So I realized my friend wasn't being mean. He was just unaware. So, that's how Viva came to be. It's like, how can I tell a story to help raise awareness? And I feel that a lot of times documentaries are kind of are for people that are interested in a specific topic and they seek that stuff out or a little bit. But I wanted to do something that would reach a more broad audience and a more general audience. So I wrote this story that's a big composite and amalgamation of all the kind of issues my family are dealing with, and characters and people from my family are combined into certain characters. That just it's a story about this American businessman who's lured to Cuba by the corrupt government to do a business deal, and he's shown a very perfect and pristine curated view of Cuba. Everything's great and wonderful, problem free. But one night he sort of escapes the chaperone and he's able to wander around on his own, where he meets this young Cuban ballerina who's desperately trying to escape and defect and just get out of the island. And they form a bond, and then she pulls him into her world and shows, him her reality and her life and her truth. And then that sort of changes his whole view of everything. And that's how Viva came to be.
My God. Wow. How inspiring is that?
Oh, thanks.
When I first saw the trailer, it literally gave me chills because, like you said, here in America, we have a certain view. There's things that we don't know, and your film is shining the light on that. And when I was watching it, it did something to me. I can't explain it. It did something to me emotionally. And I think that's a great characteristic to have as a filmmaker. And yeah, dude, you got an awesome film here. I can't lie. I don't know where I get to go to see this, but
Thank you so much.
wherever it is, I'll be the first in line. I've watched went and watched the trailer like so many times back to back. Super dope, bro. I see.
Thanks.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you for all those kind words. I really appreciate it. And I think the biggest issue, the main reason, like I mentioned, why this all came about. It's funny. My wife actually said it best a few days ago, because she's always worked in nonprofit organizations. She's worked for like AIDS Walk and American Cancer Society, Make a Wish, but in fundraising. And the fundraising part of these organizations is like a way to help, and a way to not solve the problem, but do something to help, like to take action is fundraising for whatever, for treatment, for research, or whatever. But she's like, before all that, before you can even do that, the first thing you have to do is awareness, is identify the problem and tell people there's a problem, and this is the problem we need to solve. So like now she works at a organization called Zero, End of Prostate Cancer. It's a men's prostate cancer organization. And like, in fundraising, first thing she always has to do is like educate people, like this is a real problem for guys over 45, and certain demographics have even higher health risks, and blah blah blah. But she's like, the education of it is the first step. So before it's like, how do we fix Cuba? What can we do? How can we get involved? It's really, I feel it's just letting people know that there is a problem, because most people have no idea. And hearing your sort of beautiful feedback, and thank you so much for saying all those kind words. That's the whole mission of this thing, is to just let people know that there's, gosh, it's crazy. It's so close. If you look on a map, it's like 90 miles from our coast, from the tip of Key West to Cuba. I mean, there used to be it's like basically, I mean, it's a little further obviously than Catalina, but like it's like getting on a ferry to go to Catalina. You just used to be able to hop on all these ferries daily in Key West and just take a quick boat trip and you'd be in Cuba. So it's that close. I mean, imagine if we, as Los Angelinos, imagine like there was a communist dictatorship on Catalina. That's almost, kind of a way to put it in perspective. It's crazy. And most people don't know. So that's the point. And thank you for those kind words.
No problem, brother. Did you run into any type of roadblocks with this film? Be it that you're putting the truth out there as far as what's going on in Cuba?
Yeah, a ton. That's basically mainly why I'm shooting in Colombia. It's basically like shooting in, North Korea or China, communist China. So there's a Bureau of Tourism there that grants your film permit. And of course, ideally, I'd want to just shoot there, but we can't. There's a producer there and a contact I have that's like read the script, and he's like, there's absolutely no way you could film here. You would not get a permission for a second. So that's the main one is shooting in having to go to another country to shoot for Cuba. So we found Cartagena is a pretty close match, and it's a great place to shoot from a production community standpoint. There's other places like Campeche, Mexico, and there's parts of Spain, and lots of the Caribbean islands towns have a very similar look, like a colonial architecture republic kind of vibe. But Cartagena ended up being a good place for a lot of reasons. The other problem is because there's no Wi-Fi there. Literally, there's no way to get information in and out of Cuba. I was even trying to hire a Cuban producer to shoot some exteriors for me and send them to me, and he has some, but he has no way to get them to me. He can't put them on a WeTransfer or a Dropbox or Google Drive because there's just no real internet. So there's definitely those are all kind of the real world issues with Cuba and production.
Wow. So you went to Colombia to get this done. Oh man, that that's amazing, bro. It's like this was your destiny. Is this your first film?
Well, we're also to jump we're like so early we're in the pre-production phase of Viva, and I'd love Steve. We had a conversation recently because he just came back from Colombia to do the location scouting, which if you're a filmmaker, it's such an important part of the filmmaking process, because you can't just show up somewhere and hope that it'll be what you envisioned in your mind. You really have to go beforehand and find the appropriate spots, and if you can't find it, sometimes you even have to like reimagine the script. So Steve went to Colombia about 2 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, to do the location scouting for the feature film of Viva. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. So now we're working on the short film version to kind of, get the word out there on Viva, to create the NFT collection, to then go ahead and fund the feature film version. So he just came back from Colombia a couple weeks ago to do a new location scouting for the short film. And if you kind of want to speak on that, Steve, of like the differences, the experience that you had of going just now compared to going 2 years ago. You had already gone to Colombia to do a location scouting. Like, why did you feel you had to go again? I think for fellow filmmakers, it's a really interesting story.
Sure. Yeah. I went in 2019. Kind of all roads started pointing to Cartagena as the spot to be a good spot to double for Cuba. I went there, found all the locations. It was great. The financing was coming together, the cast was coming together, everything was happening, and we were planning to shoot in 2020. And of course, good old pandemic happened. And when that happened, I'm sure everybody remembers, at the very beginning, it was so scary and uncertain, from everybody buying all the toilet paper rolls you could see in the store to freaking out about money and jobs. So the first thing that happened to the film is the financing got pulled, which was a bummer. And, it looked bleak because also all the country shut down. So we couldn't even travel, obviously, and go anywhere if we wanted to, because everybody was just figuring it out. And Colombia was completely shut down. They got hit every country got bad, but Colombia was also in a really bad place with the cases of COVID and stuff. So they were on serious lockdown for almost well over a year. Then as production started to come back, just trying to figure out how to get the project back on its feet, the strategy and the thinking was, let's do a short. That's something I can do with my friends and my contacts and supporters of the project. We can do that without having to have a fundraising phase. We can just make an amazing short, self-contained short, not like the trailer that's out there that you guys saw. That's more of like a trailer. This is a real sort of beginning, middle, and end, like a 14-page story, that just will give everything, the vibe, the tone, the style of the project, and really help just kind of reactivate the fundraising and get that bit of it back together. And also we're going to use that time to gather the whole, build the NFTs for our NFT fundraising strategy, as well. So yeah, and I went back, like Chloe mentioned, just last week to rescout for a couple locations because the short is different from the stuff in the feature. I had to write something, the structure of a feature film, this 3 act structure over whatever 70, 80 pages is so different from a short, the structure of a short. So instead of just taking scenes, I felt I needed to sort of write its own, a unique story that was strong in a short format, for the format of a short film. So there's new locations. So number one, I had to find a couple new places, but number two, so much has changed in Cartagena in since 2019, because it's a booming tourist destination, and I'm representing Cuba, as the kind of the part of Cuba that tourists don't see, which is like where the people live outside of Havana. Havana is kind of like a downtown Disney where the government takes care of it. Stuff is painted. It looks like there's stuff everywhere, like food, and but this is supposed to show the harsher side of Cuba, where really everybody that works in Havana live. And Cartagena is such a beautiful tourist place. It was actually very hard to find that because it's so kind of pristine and gorgeous. And in the couple of years since I've been away, it's gotten even better because it's gotten more popular. So some of the locations are now gone. So anyway, that was that. That was basically the thing that the last trip and the last kind of step in our process that Chloe was talking about.
Wow. Such diligent work, such hard work has went into this film. Wow, mind blowing.
So
How did
can
you?
I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So as I was researching your project, I noticed that are you planning to do your film in Decentraland or in a Web3 format? Because I saw NFT movie. I'm not sure if is that I know it's you guys because I was just looking. It's on the
Hello?
Google.
Sorry, I don't hear anything.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, and I can definitely speak to that because for everyone that just jumped in, I'm Chloe, one of the producers, and my sister's here next to me.
Hi everyone, I'm Arami.
She's under the Sister Alchemy account. We are helping produce the film, and Arami was cast as Lorena, the lead ballerina, back in 2019. And then of course when the pandemic hit, and during that time, we had a lot of free time at home, and Arami and I were talking about how we'd love to get into like producing, not just like acting. We've been acting for about 10 years, and as actors, you get your call time and you show up, and by the time you show up, there's so much work that has already been put into getting you there, months of pre-production, and then you work for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, and then you wrap, you go home, and then the team stays there and keeps on working in post-production. So we wanted to be a bigger part of the filmmaking experience. Arami had shared that with Steve. So Steve at some point asked if we wanted to jump in and help produce the film, and then I read the script, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I read it on the plane. I cried on the plane. I was like, oh my God, oh Jesus, I wasn't ready for this. It was so beautiful. So we were like, yes, let's do it. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how producing, like, I don't know how to raise funds, but I was like, let's do it. Let's jump in. So during that time, Arami and I we've been in the crypto space since 2017. We've always had a lot of conviction in crypto and the power of crypto. And last year, a good friend was really pushing us as artists to explore the NFT world, because he was just saying, the amount of potential that was in this space. So we joined the NFT world, just kind of, initially it was kind of like peeking down the rabbit hole, and then it's, oops, I tripped and I'm way down this NFT rabbit hole. We just were fascinated you know, by what was happening in the NFT space, we started joining a couple NFT collections, and in doing so, you know, you join the community, and then we were seeing what, you know, artists in the music field were doing, you know, with NFTs. So after a few months of being, you know, collecting other people's, you know, artworks and just being a part of these communities, we kind of like planted the seed to Steve, and we're like, hey, what about, because, you know, funding independent films, any independent filmmaker out there knows that it's like the most dreaded part, especially if you don't have like an A-list actor, you know, an A-list director. It's really hard to get people, you know, to trust you. And a lot of people that invest in independent films, you know, they don't do it because they expect to make a lot of money. They do it because they believe in the film, and they believe in the director, the writer, the actors, and they want to support. And I was kind of feeling that with the NFT community. So we kind of planted the seed to Steve of like, hey, what about, you know, doing an NFT collection to, you know, to help bring Viva to life using the power of Web3 and the community. And then I guess Steve also spoke with other people in the crypto space, and it started becoming a really interesting idea. And then once we were like, yeah, let's do it, I was like, oh my God, like, where do we start? Like, has anybody done this before? I don't, you know, I like froze, because I was like, I don't even know where to start. It's very nerve wracking, like paving the road. So then my friend sent me a link to the Twitter page of Miguel Faust, who's working on Calladita. He created the short film, and he's doing an NFT collection to, you know, to bring his feature film version to life. And I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly the path that we want to take. So through Miguel, we found the NFT filmmaker squad, and it was like this door open to all of these filmmakers that were doing just that. And this was like, I mean, it feels like it's been months, but we found them like 3-4 weeks ago. So we just discovered this whole world of other filmmakers that have already, you know, Julie Pacino, who was the first one that sold out her NFT collection, Keepers of the Inn, in order to fund her feature film, I Like Here Now, which Keepers of the Inn, I Live Here Now, which Keepers of the Inn, you know, were the collection of photographs that she took during the rehearsal process, you know, so she paved the way, you know, she was like, I can do this, you can too. So we're so early in the stage. We've already talked about, you know, when we put in the website, like the different ideas for the different NFT collections. And we have a meeting with Steve to kind of talk about like, hey, do we want to launch, you know, the short film in like the metaverse? Do we want to do, or do we want to look? There's a lot of questions that we still have to decide. You know, do we want to go the traditional way and find distribution for the short film, or do we want to just use the short film as, you know, an NFT that we, you know, can help us get the feature film out? Well, I think we definitely want to do you know, metaverse premieres. There's the decentralized producers, you know, created like a virtual movie theater, which is really, really, really cool. So we're learning as we go, and we have a lot of questions that we have to answer amongst ourselves of how do we want to go about this? Do we want to, you know, put it just out on the metaverse? Do we want to, you know, so we have a lot of exciting questions that we're looking to answer.
And we're just so excited to be here. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us and for being here and for creating this space, because it makes it so much better. And all this uncertainty is actually more exciting than scarier, just because we're all in it together. And for me to be here with my sister and to be detrás de Steve, behind Steve, and just, you know, helping his dream come true. And he opened his heart, his project to us so much that we feel now part of it. We are it with him, and it's just like, wow, es una hermosa familia. It's a beautiful family, and we're excited. We're so excited.
Didn't you crowdfund Web 2 and Web 3 at the same time to create that? I mean, I myself personally have helped so many filmmaker crowdfund in Web 2. I mean, I literally have done we came up with some really crazy ideas to raise money for a film. But then when you look at the tokens and you look at the NFT and you look at the storytelling, it kind of like brings me back to my old days in the 90s when I used to throw raves, right? I used to have like these flyers were like considered gold because they're so freaking expensive to make. But people would collect them, and you put the flyers together, they become a one big gigantic story out of that, all the flyers. So I don't see why now we're living in a world that we can create, and as long as the story is so beautiful and it's empowering, we got tons of NFT Cuban artists on here too. That I have met. I've been working on NFT for over a year now, not a year, but like pretty much in February. Like I feel like over a year. I feel like I've been doing this forever. I'm not even a creator of NFT. I'm just
Hey,
a
sorry guys,
publicist.
I'm having a hard time hearing anybody. It's totally silent, so I'm gonna hop out and hop back in. Hopefully that'll fix things. I don't know if you can hear me.
So, like, I don't see why you guys can't do both. Like, why can't you come up with your perks on a for your trailer? You can come up with the whole story. You have one going on right now for your GoFundMe, but why can't you come up with a perk? The perks would be they get private tickets, seeing or streaming or whatever. You can have that kind of thing where people can have that private viewing at their own house, and then create a VIP with saying, you donate $1,000. We're gonna send you for 6 people. We're gonna send you all the swag, includes a key. I mean, for the $1,000 amount, that's your Web 2 way of creating crowdfunding, right? Then you got your Web 3, which is your token for, because I'm sure you're gonna be doing this so much more, which includes also in the Web 2, you can have a specific type of NFT which you can create mass quantity of, and then you have the very special kind that comes with the they call it the premier package, where they donate and then they get mentioned and they get this and this. So I see this happening for you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, that was definitely something that we talked about well, the GoFundMe page was created like 2 years ago for the feature film, and we've decided we're going to use those funds to create the short film. So in fundraising for the feature film, that was one of the questions that we asked is, do we want to go the entire just raise entirely via NFTs, or do we want to have one of the roadblocks, the questions that we had is, in the traditional form of raising funds for a feature film, you have investors that come in, and you have the waterfall system. So when the movie starts making money, it goes back to the investors, which that was my main question, was how do we manage that in this world? Because there's a lot of talk in NFTs of being careful how you word things and how you structure things so that it's not a security, because then the SEC comes after you, and it gets super complicated. So then we're like, well, why don't we merge both? Why don't we merge Web 2 and Web 3? And if we had some investors that wanted to put down 150,000 and be actual investors, and then we have people that want to support the film and mint NFTs, and they are supporters of the film. They can be in the credits and stuff, but they're not actual investors, because that would require a whole legal process. And I know some other filmmakers are creating DAOs in order to work around this. So yeah, that was one of the things that we were planning on doing, is because I know, for example, Miguel, which I commend him, I think it's amazing, he's doing one of the first films funded entirely with NFT. So he's going to fund everything through his sale of NFTs. We wanted to do merge both worlds, because we do have people that are interested in investing. And to anyone that's not a filmmaker, you say somebody wants to invest $150,000, it's like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's like, yeah, that's maybe like 10% of the budget of the feature film. So we definitely want to merge both, the Web 2 and the traditional investor route, and allow other people to have a little piece of history, of a piece of the process, as we like to call it, through the NFT, and really authenticate their support from early on.
And like what Tanya was saying, it's so inspiring, because we can get so creative. We can create events. We can create opportunities where people who invested at the beginning, and they don't necessarily invest 100,000, but they throw in 1,000, 500, and they get either the big collection of the 10K collection, or even we've been looking into the 101s, and collaborate with Cuban artists, and especially not only for Cuban, even for their art, so that they have also a way to express themselves. And we want to give them that opportunity, that hope that we're here for them, even if we're not physically there in Cuba. We are listening, and estamos pendientes. We're here, to give them the opportunity to express together. So it's exciting. It's exciting that we have so many so many ways, not just one way like it used to be.
I think Fernando's hand is really tired right now. Fernando.
No, I'm okay, actually. Thank you.
Go. Did you have a question?
Yeah, but I would prefer that you finish with this topic so I do not jump in the middle of something.
I'm
First of
such
all,
a
thank you
publicist.
for
I'm like a publicist, a hardcore publicist. All I can think of, like, tours, dinner with a cast. I mean, that's a huge amount of money to be donated toward this project. Dinner with the cast, that could be like a whole premiere. You can reach out to a limo company where they could be mentioned in part of your, at the end of your movie. You could have a list of all the different people, because I've seen it done where an actual film that didn't really get much. The whole goal was not to get thousands, $100,000 donated, but it'd be like $5,000 to go have dinner with the film cast, and that would include, and then they would turn around and have like restaurants and different places go in with them and pretty much write everything off because part as a marketing, and they go in as being mentioned and part of this incredible film, especially Miami and places like that, and now with how crazy people are with crypto and Bitcoin, and you can literally have tokens for everyone, just like an AMC type of deal, and also tokens for that private collectors who get certain pieces, and also online and offline video. And even you can reach out to Decentraland and say, we can do this as a co-branding campaign. I wouldn't even like pay them to feature a film. Should have them give you money because you're bringing a story, you're bringing empowerment, and it's a whole package. So I don't see it as someone who's a publicist, and I've been doing this since 2006, and crowdfunding has been my thing. It's like I enjoy it a lot, actually. But I'm looking at your project with all the spice, with everything, and like my friends, they found it Hispanicized. This is this big event down in Miami, and now someone bought it out, so it's pretty. It's being produced in LA, but you can reach out to some heavy hitters in Miami, and especially Stephen for being from Miami. I don't see why not. And also with the Asian community also, because I try to explain to people in Cuba, because I was married to a Cuban once, but I grew up with a bunch of Cubans. I learned how to speak English with them. Just like the Jamaican kids in Cuba, there's like tons of Asian people. There's like tons of Asian, Chinese Cubans also, but then there's a huge amount of them, and people don't like. They always, it feels like only in America that we look at people different colors and make such a huge difference out of it. In Cuba, in South America, there's so many different flavor and color, and no one looks at it anything different. So I just see this film could bridge so many things. But if you just you can have best of both worlds, because we're still living in Web 2. Social media is the key. But then Web 3 is on its way, and then there's this, Decentraland and all these different. It's really an xr.mozilla.org. So eventually, as you guys grow in this field and you get more investors who are collecting your tokens, and then the second resale market really kicks in for you guys. Why can't you guys create your own? I mean, like your own film studio, whatever you want to do in the virtual world. I mean, I see all this can happen.
I love it, Tanya. Thank you so much for bringing so much inspiration to us.
And you guys are pioneers. You guys are like right on the forefront, and you have such an awesome project. Yeah, I agree with Tanya.
Thank you so much. And it just means a lot to us because as sisters, our energy is very special. And I mean, my sister was born in Paraguay. I was born in France, but we lived in Paraguay and France and Chile and Miami and New York and LA. But our biggest, impact was definitely Miami for 15 years. So it's just this opportunity with Steve as first performers, as actors. We all have an identity and we want to bring other identities to life. And then when we just connect so deeply, and so passionately and so truthfully, and to have the opportunity to bring it to life and share it with others is something is the reason why we do what we do. And just thank you so much. It really
And I
means a lot.
love really how Steve originally, I mean, the script has gone through like a million revisions, as you know, as it should. You get feedback, Steve goes back to the drawing board, and initially it was this like, you know, regular American guy going to Cuba, and then Steve, you know, decided to change it, and I guess make it more personal, and make it like Korean American that goes Korean American that goes to Cuba. And I love that, because I mean, when we met Steve's family, who's Korean, I mean, we lived in Miami for 15 years. We hear, you know, the Cubans in Miami speak Spanish with their iconic beautiful Cuban accent, you know. So meeting Steve's family, who's just straight Korean, and seeing his mom and his grandma, these like beautiful Korean women, speaking Spanish with a Korean accent. I mean, it was like cognitive dissonance. Like I was like, what am I? This is wild. And then that's where I learned that, yes, so many, you know, as you were saying, Tanya, so many people from Asia migrated, you know, to Cuba at a time before Cuba was, you know, this you know, communist regime. So I think it was really cool that Steve, you know, went and changed that in the script, and you know, and really made that more personable. And while we speak about Steve, I just want to make sure that since you came in, that you can hear us, that it worked to unplug.
Yes. Yeah, I can hear work. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I don't know, Tanya and Gino, since we have like 15 minutes, if we want to, you know, see what our friends with their hands up, you know, have any
Yes,
questions.
definitely. Fernando, please ask your questions.
Thank you for letting me speak. First of all, Tonya, thank you for putting me up here. I have a questions. Arami actually means little heaven in Guarani, because I'm from Paraguay. My name is Fernando.
Oh my God.
Sorry, we're such a small world, and it just means a lot. Bye, Chapa.
Tranquilo, pa.
Ay, por
May
no.
pesa pukai, ani pesa pukaiti.
Mira, un poco.
Mishimino, no hablamos guaraní, hasta ahí llegamos.
So for people, that is Guarani, one of the main languages in Paraguay.
Oh my God, that means so much.
Yes, so para mí does mean cielito, little sky.
Little sky, little heaven. Yes, my mother, actually my brother helped my mother to open a store, a beauty store, and the name was Arami.
Wow! Oh my God. This is so
Yes, I was listening to you guys, Esteban and Viva, and about the charity and all this, and what is actually the main problem, because I thought I'm a little skeptic about charity, because I think we all doing that for years, for generation, trying to help other people, or trying to help about racism or everything. And I know people that black people that even don't know what racism means, because they are all black there and they don't know what it is. So it's like we bring this topic inside them and all that, and this is another story. But the main problem, I think, is the connection. I find a lot of people, and that what you say before, that nobody have like internet, or people need to be connected to can do something now, because it's all anything work because of that. And so I think that the most priority thing have to be to connect with people and to put like the energy in a charity organization, to put connection everywhere. So, and then I think we have a solution that we can talk and we can start to work with everybody, or with so many people that are connected. And so maybe we don't need to make charity anymore so much that we did after now, because it's too much. And we try to make charity everywhere, and then you have people that make like charity for hungry people, for the people that are hungry, and they don't give a shit about animals. And then you have animals and they don't give a shit about women. So I think we need everybody. We need to go to the main problem, to the roots, and build something that we can have so many people connected, so we can work with. And I want to do my film as well. I have an idea about filmmaking, and this is kind of perfect opportunity to listen to you, to learn. And I appreciate so much what I listen after now. I can be listening to you all the time for hours. And thank you so much. And yes, my question actually is can we concentrate the energy to see if we can onboard more people or trying to take connection everywhere we can.
100%.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fernando.
Ah, we
That's
did.
so special. And you know, I love that you mentioned that because I do think that is like the epitome of this new, you know, Web3 horizon and NFTs, because as we know, like today, you know, we unfortunately still have world hunger. And what's crazy is that there's enough food on this planet to feed everyone. So it's not a problem. It's not a matter of like not having enough food, not having enough money, not having enough clean water. The problem is distribution, you know, and that's why I think this, you know, a lot of people are so, you know, nervous about crypto and about Web3 is because it's such a disruptor. It's so different. It is here to change the world. And I think the main thing it's going to do is the wealth distribution. The, you know, there is going to be, you know, a DAO and an NFT for you know, like you were saying, for those that love animals, for those that, you know, that are focusing on women, on films, you know, and I that's the grander image, you know, of that I see for the potential of Web3 changing the world. And you're absolutely right. The most important thing is onboarding, is bringing people on board and explaining to them, you know, the power, like the vision that everyone has for this. And I think that's why Gino and Tanya, you know, what you guys are doing with creating these spaces are so important, so pivotal. That's how we were able to kind of, you know, take our vision and not just like put it in the drawer.
Yeah.
And really like start doing it because we saw other people doing it, because I joined the NFT filmmaker squad space where they were all talking about it. And not only are people doing it, but they're sharing how they're doing it and what they're doing, you know, in order to, you know, to create this. So
And being open to it, like you were saying, Fernando, that connection is so important, and it's so new. And for Steve, when we brought this up recently to him, less than maybe a month or 2 months ago, when this has been around for a little longer, Steve was so open to it. He, you know, he opened his heart, his mind, and let's go for it. So I think it's so important, you know, to share it and then just to connect with it. And that will allow us, like you said, Fernando, to concentrate the energy into the right place. So it just works much better. We do less effort and better results.
absolutely.
Yeah, have his hand up.
Did you have another question, Fernando? Because I see Bliss also has his hand up.
Yes, the
Yeah,
last
let's
one. The last one.
Blees, you got a question, brother?
Sorry?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah, you can.
Glad to see Tanya in here giving great advice, per usual, and seeing it cross paths with Sister Alchemy. This is a great project, and I've actually been in a few rooms with Cuban artists. And to speak on what you said, we like crypto is changing lives. 85% of the world's population lives on $2.85 a day, and to be able to get those funds to them, I think is critical. And now we're seeing it at a fraction of the cost, at a fraction of the time that you're able to go and transfer these funds. And literally, I've been in several spaces where I've seen, you know, grown men break down crying because they're like, you just fed my family for an entire month. Right. And it was nothing to that collector to do that. He didn't even think twice. It was just something that he liked the art and bought it. And it was the first time this guy sold that piece. And so what I see with this, what I love about this film as well is seeing these Cuban artists and stuff is shedding a light on that. And I heard it was in Cartagena that you shot. If there was anything that you went to Cuba for, and if you are talking to Cuban NFT artists, because I feel like some of them have footage that they've made, like old films and old photography as well. And yeah, like I like the virtual space because that could be unlockable content that maybe people, you know, don't go to the movie theater, don't feel comfortable going to the movie theater, that NFT could have that unlockable content of going to a virtual space. So I like that idea as well, and just really appreciate this space and really looking forward to it. And anyone that can make a film in this time, how many obstacles? I mean, there's so many obstacles to just make a film, but to make a film now, there's just so many obstacles. So kudos to you, Stephen, and glad I've met you today. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all the kind words. That was really special. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to get that's part of the NFT strategy for sure, and that was like one of the first things we spoke about is getting Cuban artists to participate to help, economize and you know um help support them organically. But the problem is it's so crazy. It's like this horrible nightmare catch 22 where like NFTs and crypto all work on the internet and there's no internet in Cuba to speak of. I mean, yes, you can go to these things called Wi-Fi parks where you have to buy a card from the government and sit in this park with like dial-up speed internet to like make calls to your family outside of Cuba on like WhatsApp or Skype. But there's not like there's not internet to speak of. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I can't even get footage that a Cuban producer has for me for like exteriors and stuff sent. So, and I know OpenSea actually, because I think OpenSea, I don't know if they're based in the US or whatever, and they're held to the same embargo restrictions. They shut down I think all of the Cuban accounts because that since US isn't allowed to trade with Cuba, then Cuban artists don't have an actual kind of straight means of participating that way. So we're definitely going to try to figure this out and find a way to still involve the Cuban artists and have them be a part of all the benefits of putting their art up and participating in the project. But yeah, it's funny. It's like a life imitates art thing right now. It's like, just getting Cuban artists, to be a part of our NFT campaign is a struggle because of Cuba. So it's a head scratcher.
Yeah, we've actually um, some other projects, including like Crypto Cubans and even Miguel, for example, with Calladita. He's collaborating with some other artists and splitting the funds. So half of the funds from the sale of the NFT goes to the artist, and the other funds, half the funds go to funding the project. So that is definitely something that that we have talked about, and that we're going to start looking into different Cuban artists in all ranges of domain, whether it's photography, art, music, video, ballet, because that's a big part of the film, and how we can bring them on board to do like a collaboration collection for Viva. So we're really excited. So Fernando, talk to us. We see your hand is up.
Thank you so much, Viva. And we are talking about the charity now, and you see that we talked before that people that are fighting or helping with hunger, they are in one point. Then we have other people with women, we have with animals, we have about the war, I don't know, Greenpeace, and they are like in the front, and maybe everybody of them, they think they are doing the right thing. They don't need to do anything else. But maybe if you expand this mindset and we put everybody together, we have Captain Planet. We have everybody working together, and so is nobody thinking, okay, I'm doing the right thing, I don't care about animals because I'm doing the right thing already. And these are people that are in the front, like you guys. We need you guys that already are there to decide or to see what kind of people you bring up there. And they have to see that they have the responsibility, a world changing responsibility that is not for everybody. We don't need another Justin Bieber. I think we saw already what that is. We can be rich for today in a month because of this crypto. We have the possibility. Everybody can be that, but not everybody think the same way like you. Not everybody think to change the world. They think to change my world, and so I can enjoy my world. But if we take the right person in the right position, we want to make it. We want to rock. We want to win this game. I believe in that. But we need people that are conscious what they are doing. Because you put a new actor, and he is like, okay, I'm the actor. I'm the middle point of everything. And we need people that think we are in the middle of everything, everybody. And that's my question is, what can you do for choose the right system or the right person that are going up with you? How can they work with you, and what you need to from this person to go forward with that what you are doing?
That's a great question, and I love that you bring up that point, because there's so much, sometimes we feel like, at least with me as an artist, I'm like, how can I make an impact in the world? I'm just an actor, I'm just or a director, or writer, producer. Like, I'm not Greta Thunberg speaking at the United Nations. Like, am I, like, and this is how we bring the change, and that we want to see in the world, is just by doing what we do best, which in Steve's case, it's writing, because he's such an incredible writer, and for us, it's acting and bringing these characters, to life. And there is something to be said also to making art for the sake of making art, you know what I mean? Because it's just, whether it's to help somebody, like, just escape, the reality for even a few moments. But definitely, I think that's why, like, casting processes are so important, because it's always not just like, can they do the role? It's, is this somebody I want to work with for 12, 14 hours a day? There's a lot that goes into picking your team. And I think, Steve, you can also speak a little to that, to kind of wrap up the space, because we're getting to that 1 hour mark. And Arami wants to say something.
Yeah, just lastly thing, like what Fernando was saying, is what we each have to do is continue taking care of ourselves, and what we can do uniquely to give to the team. I mean, this is a collaborative space. That's why I've been involved in film, and we are now more than actors. We want to be producers, because we love working with people. We love to bring ideas together. Y cada uno, each and every one of us, has a very special skill and talent that if you harness that, and then you just focus, you concentrate your energy in that, and then you bring it to the table, and you see everybody's doing that. Holy macaroni, you just have a bunch of gold, everybody, and we're shining so brightly, and suddenly we have what we need, and we didn't realize it. So what's important is just to continue taking care of yourself, to continue finding deep within yourselves. As an actor, we get about 100 auditions a month, and now we've been very, very specific with what we want to work with, because what we choose, we spend hours in it. So energy also depletes and it recharges, and you have to know how to manage that, so that when we come into a new space, we're just so open to create it. So I think if we continue doing that, which we are, we're finding the ways to continue rising up together. Like we say, wag me.
We are gonna make
Would you know the movie Shine, the film? I
shine.
was recording in Puerto Rico, I think. I have a lot of dancer friends. They are in the movie, and now it's in Amazon. Its name is Shine, like Shine. It's
Ama-
dancer movie. I'm a dancer actually, so
Oh,
I know them, and they are in beautiful movie. I have to see. I don't see it already, but I saw the trailer, and it's amazing.
amazing, amazing. And I really love, speaking about, like, people, all the people that we've met in the NFT community has been incredible. I know Blease, I've been in a couple spaces with him. I met him through Carol in the NFT space. Gino as well now, Tanya, Fernando, it's it's incredible the community that we're building. So as we wrap up and as we give the mic over to Steve and then Tanya and Gino, just want to say thank you to everybody that's here that came to listen to the space, that's supporting this project, because it's just so beautiful when we all rise together. Steve, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, beyond thank you to Gino and Tanya and everybody listening to, this community is what it's all about, and just being able to get together and share ideas and keep plugging forward is the whole point of this. And yeah, kind of to your last question, Freddie, like the sorry, Fernando, the idea to the kind of the commitment to keep posting about our path and our journey and our process. We're going to keep doing that. Chloe and Arami are amazing at that. At just being on all the socials and our Twitter, and we're going to be doing a production blog, and we're super accessible. So at any step of the way, if you guys are working on your own projects and have questions as to how we're doing it or what we're doing, and the strategies we're using, please reach out. We're all more than happy to, like I said, it's a community to help each other and help you guys, and share what experience we're gaining along the way, so you guys can do it better on your projects.
Oh my God, I'm totally in. So whatever it is, I follow you anyways, everybody. And I will take this opportunity to say goodbye, but I will definitely jump in again. Thank you, Tonya, for this beautiful opportunity. I go to dance actually, and I want to see you around, and I would love to, yes, to change or to share ideas or whatever it is. I'm here for you. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Esteban.
Fernando is an
Viva,
incredible
Tonya.
space host, by the way. So his spaces gets like 1,000 listeners. I run his analytics, so I know. So Fernando, I appreciate you for popping in here and sharing with us and connecting with everyone. And also, you guys, if you're going to come down in down in South Florida, I'm not in Miami, but in Broward, I have my church, we're a transhumanist church. So it's 2.5 acres of land. And if you guys want to do a showing, doing some fundraising, I'm sure I'm the communication director. So we can work something out. And I also think that it's great that you guys are doing the Web3, but you should also crowdfund and create awareness about your project in Web2. And then that in turn also bring in the Web3 Edison. This way you can onboard people as they join your your community, as you call it.
Yeah, well, since we don't have like the NFT collection is definitely a couple months out, we do still have the GoFundMe page, which on our website at the very top, there's both a GoFundMe page and the film forum, which is like a crowdsourcing for films that actually is, because it's a nonprofit organization, you actually get a tax incentive, like a tax write-off. So yeah, on our website at the very top, it says, if somebody is like super eager and wants to, jump in, because we're looking to shoot the short film in about a month, at the end of March or the first week of April, depending on the situation in Colombia. So if anybody, loves the project and they want to support it right off the bat, on our website at the top, it says donate. You can either do it through GoFundMe or Film Forum. It's there. So
yes, we'll be right there. We're working so much. We have so much to go. So we're so excited to have you guys. Thank you.
And thank you, Tanya and Gino, for inviting us. We're so honored.
Muchísimas gracias. Merci beaucoup. Awuye.
Oh my God, I love you guys.
This was such a dope space. Everything was so organic. Like, you guys made this space super dope. And we have something for you guys. I give it to all the filmmakers after each space. It's the golden movie ticket. You guys are now in the Starseed Film and Music Hall of Fame. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm gonna be looking out for this movie. I'm telling everybody that I know about this movie, and I know, that I actually know the rock stars that made it.
It's all
Kudos to you guys.
all over the internet, so no one's gonna forget.
Kudos to you guys. You guys are doing something big. I believe in destiny, right? And this is definitely destiny for you all. You guys are gonna make changes in a big way.
Thank you so much, Gino. You guys are there